Alright, so I've been playing Assassin's Creed Mirage. And this game, I kind of hearing a lot of back and forth with this game. Currently, right now, it's sitting at a Metacritic score of a 77, which is by no means a terrible score, especially if you're considering the fact that this is a smaller budget style Assassin's Creed game. But going into Assassin's Creed Mirage, I was very, very excited to see them take it back to the roots, take it back to the beginning, really do the whole stealthy things that Assassin's Creed was really known for. And back on the Xbox 360, I absolutely fell in love with Assassin's Creed, the original one, and then Assassin's Creed 2. Freaking fantastic games. I loved them. Assassin's Creed 3 was a little hot, a little cold for me. I was a little miss on that one. And then Black Flag was cool, but by then I was definitely burnt out of Assassin's Creed games. I definitely didn't want to play too much more Assassin's Creed games after that. And I pretty much haven't played one since Black Flag. So Assassin's Creed Mirage was the first time that I would be picking up Assassin's Creed game. So in this video, I kind of just want to go over my thoughts on this game, where I think its strengths are, where I think its weaknesses are, and overall if I think I'm gonna enjoy the game or if I might just leave this one where it's at. All right, so first things, let's get the story out of the way. So in Assassin's Creed Mirage, you play as the character Basim. He's your main protagonist. I'm not familiar with Basim in any way, shape, or form. From what I gathered, he was a character in Valhalla, and now he has his own fleshed out like origin story about who he is and where he comes from. So Basim starts off as like a street rat on the streets of Bangladesh. He is very much like the Aladdin style character that I kind of want to pin off on him. Is like, that street rat who's like really well hearted. He means well, but in order to survive, he steals for food and for his family, etc. But he's definitely trying to get noticed in the world that he lives in, right? He's definitely trying to get people to notice him and like kind of respect him, and just so he can be in a better position in life. He ends up taking on a mission that goes south very, very quickly. He was attempting to essentially steal like a treasure chest. Things went bad. They ended up murdering a very powerful man within Bangladesh, which then set his new course of essentially going on to do his assassin's training, learning more about what the underbelly of Bangladesh is and what his part is going to play into it. Overall, the story is very, very missed for me. The story I felt like had potential to be very, very great, and it's not really so much the beat for beat that really misses for me. More so, it's the characters and the dialogue are very, very dry. There's no friction at all between any of the characters. Even when things are happening that I'm like, damn, on paper, I should be loving this. But the delivery of some of the dialogue is so bad that it definitely turns me off of it. A lot of times when he Basim has one-to-one conversations with people, I don't really care about what he's saying. And a lot of the conversation is very like just direct. There's not a lot of subtext. There's not a lot of like depth within their conversation. It's very much like, "Hey Basim, go do this," and Basim's like, "Yes, I'll go do that." There's times during the training where Basim is like, "I don't wanna," he's doing that little stubborn thing where he's like, "I don't wanna end my training now. I wanna keep forward. I wanna keep training." And they're like, "No, Basim, you need to slow down." And he's like, "You're right. I need to slow down." Things like that. That is like, man, that takes away a lot of his character and makes him just this very straight cookie cutter protagonist that is just gonna do whatever anyone tells him to do. He's just gonna do the next mission as assigned. And again, for me, it just doesn't really make me root for him. It doesn't make me want to play as Basim. That doesn't really do anything for me with the narrative and the story, which is where I feel like Assassin's Creed Mirage misses the mark heavily. Because even if you try to replicate the gameplay, the stealth, and stuff like that from the original Assassin's Creed games, the things that made those original Assassin's Creed games really, really cool for me was that Ezio was a badass. When you were playing as Ezio, you felt cool, you felt mysterious, like no one knows who you are, and you're still trying to like play it out and figure out who the character is. And doing these stealth murder missions felt cool because you felt cool playing this character. He said a lot of cool things. You had people like Da Vinci, some of the side characters that were so fleshed out, and the dialogue was so cool, and the world was so colorful. And this game really, really lacks that color, that charm, that kind of that cool factor that makes those original Assassin's Creed games awesome, in my opinion. So I feel like if they weren't just trying to so directly tell a story, and if had a little bit more subtext underneath the characters, if they had a little bit more personality within the world and within the characters, I would definitely really, really latch myself onto this story, because I think the situations that happen and the way it kind of plays into gameplay is really, really cool if the characters were there for me. Something that I think is a really cool standout within the writing of Assassin's Creed Mirage is the fact that a lot of it feels very native. A lot of it is very native to this culture. A lot of times they'll say something and not even really translate what it is into English or anything. It's just there, and you pick up on the sentiment of what is being said. A lot of times they do translate it within the like subtitles of saying, this means friend, or this means, may God bless you, or something like that, right? Stuff like that that kind of makes you feel like they're definitely tied into this culture. This doesn't feel like, someone went and studied this area. It felt like this is definitely developed by people from this culture. And that is really, really cool to see, especially in 2023, because, I mean, there were a lot of, like, words and things that I don't know what they were saying, but I definitely got the sentiment. And I feel like if they did better at that with everything in the story, where you understood the subtext beyond what is actually being said, I think it would carry a lot more weight as far as how much I actually care about the world, etc. But yeah, that is the one big standout within the dialogue of this game. All right, the one thing that I think Assassin's Creed Mirage absolutely nails is the gameplay. This feels to the core Assassin's Creed as far as the stealth missions, as far as they kind of lay out the plans of there's, said person that you got to go free in this room. You get to that room and the door's locked. Oh, somebody has the key. Then you go and do your eagle vision. You look around, you find a person with the key, and it's always like the guy walking around the most. He'll find himself in like situation where he's surrounded by a crowd of people, and you can't really get to him so easily, because if you were to try to kill him, you're gonna get the attention of everybody, and then they're gonna all try to kill you. And combat in this game is absolutely terrible, right? So combat in this game being terrible isn't a negative. It's definitely a reason to reinforce the fact that you're an assassin. You're supposed to be in the shadows. This is a very literally cloak and daggers, and you want to try to get in and out without attracting too much attention, right? Stuff like that I felt like to the core of Assassin's Creed is what made it unique. This is an type of experience that you could really only get from this game and this franchise, and I absolutely love that. And that's part of the reason why I do like this game a lot. Is yeah, the story is not really there for me. The world isn't really something that's really super interesting to me. But when I engage with the missions and I'm over here trying to figure out who I'm supposed to kill, what I'm supposed to get from them, and try to do it in a way that is stealthy without drawing too much attention. And it's kind of like a puzzle mixed into, like, I guess, a stealthy style game, because they'll set up the scenario and you can definitely see where you need to go. Now it's like, how do I get there without, again, without dying or without making it too terrible on my part? Because I do like that even though sometimes you do get the attention of the enemies, that doesn't necessarily mean it's mission over, right? Now you just got to find a way to combat your way through them, maybe just make a clean escape and, come back when people, aren't as attracted to you or aren't as hot on you. Stuff like that. So I do think the whole Assassin's Creed gameplay element is there. It's just the moments in between the actual missions that I feel like the game really drags on. I really don't care for it too much. But again, the missions are really fun. And that's kind of where I'm at with this kind of teeter-totter right now, where I don't necessarily know if I actually like this game. Because there's definitely aspects of this game I like. There's definitely things that I think are really, really cool. The parkouring is really smooth. It feels very natural. All the stealth mechanics are very interesting. Everything looks cool. All the animations feel right. But then once I get to a story, cutscene, or anything like that, it definitely feels like it wasn't worth it. It definitely feels like I'm not being rewarded beyond just the gameplay, which takes me to the my final point of this game is that I think after a couple hours in, after you experience a couple of the missions, you definitely felt like you've experienced everything there is to experience in Assassin's Creed Mirage. Beyond, I feel like a lot of games are either very gameplay focused, very story focused, or they try to balance both. I feel like this game has a story that's set up just to get you to a specific scenario, which is the gameplay. You play out said mission, and then you kind of, go on with the story and get the next objective, which is fine. But I just feel like the narrative in this game is so dry, so boring that it almost makes the missions feel unsatisfying because I know at the end of it, I'm not gonna be, treated with a really cool cinematic or a really cool story or a really cool anything beyond lore. It's just, here's your next mission after this. Here's the next target, and I don't care about the targets per se. They're not like enemies that I care about. They're just, another person, another target, another person I gotta kill, etc. Anyways, you guys, those are my final thoughts on Assassin's Creed Mirage. Overall, I think it's a good enough game, but I don't think it does enough that I think the Assassin's Creed fans want. Old fans like me who were hoping this would be a return to form. I don't think it's a return to form in the right way. I feel like it's not enough to just say we brought the gameplay back. I feel like you really got to try to do something to make it feel more authentically the reasons why we liked Assassin's Creed. We need a really cool character, a really cool environment, a story full of colorful characters that make us want to learn more about this. And unfortunately for Assassin's Creed Mirage, it's definitely lacking in the elements beyond just the stealth missions, beyond just the gameplay. And for me, I'll see how much further I pursue this game, but I'm definitely very cold on it for the most part. Anyways, you guys, I'm gonna leave it with that. Let me know down below what you guys think of this game. If you guys are checking it out, do me a favor, like this video. If you guys like this video, please consider subscribing as it does help us out tons. And with all that, I'll see you guys on our next video.